I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ms. King,
Present.
Ms. Loper,
Present.
Mr. Baxter,
Present.
Ms. Sims,
Here.
myself present, Ms. Wilson,
Present.
Ms. Armstrong absent, 6-1.
To the community, before we get started on our meeting, we have some information, some sad news that I was sent on the passing of Mrs. Normal Gail Armstrong. Our treasurer has passed away.
We have a letter from the family to read.
Well, when the time comes.
That's fair.
So, this was sent to me, and so I would like us to do a moment of silence in Gail's honor because she was one of us. So we bow our head for a moment of silence. Okay, Chief, I want to request from you that you fly the flag, half staff for the rest of the week in Mrs. Armstrong honor, okay? Okay.
Thank you.
We need to make an addendum to the agenda. We would like to go into closed session, but we're going to go into closed session at the end. Board members, I need a motion. The attorneys are here, and we need to go into closed session in reference to, I think it's the legal fees and some other issues.
And just for the record, the provision of the Open Meetings Act allowing the closed session is MCL 15.268, parenthesis H, which is to do with material exempt from disclosure under state or federal statute.
Need a motion?
So moved. Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. Approve agenda for board meeting, July 22nd, 2020. Need a motion to approve.
24.
I'm sorry, 24.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Mr. Loper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Approve minutes for board meeting, July the 8th, 2024. The motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Okay, approve payment of the bills from July the 2nd, 2024 through July the 16th, 2024 in the amount of $997,143.46.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none, we call for the vote.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Public comment on the agenda items. Public comment on the agenda items only. Hearing none, we move forward. Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
My name is Derek Aldridge, and I put a bid in on the lawn care service.
Mhm.
And last month I was here, and there was a discussion about my bid. And so last week, the township clerk, Mr. Allen, called me to come out and meet him. And I think trustee Wilson took me on a walkthrough to see what needed to be cut. He gave me a map of what needed to be cut. And if I had got that from the start before I put my bid in, it may have changed what I bidded on the bid. So I'm just saying, before we get to the approve the lawn care business, I want to know if I'm unsatisfied with how it comes out. Is there a dispute process? The Mount Morris Township.
I guess my question and concern is I'm not understanding. You came out and walked the grounds and saw what needed to be done. So did you not do that the first time around when you bid it?
I did, but I wasn't clear. I didn't have a map. From my understanding, that should have been done from the beginning of the whole bid process, is that we should have had a walkthrough. I might be incorrect on what I'm saying, but that should have been a walkthrough, and I should have been given a map at the start of the bid process.
No, I have been doing these bids. As a matter of fact, I've done these bids with Mrs. Ashley. And I don't think we've ever done a walkthrough with anyone. I know the bids are submitted, they're sealed, completely sealed. And then when it's time for us to open the bids, we do sit down and open them with the individuals in the room if they choose to be there. And once we open those bids, they are opened, and we usually take the lowest bid, and that's what we did. Now, I don't know what happened when Elmer, he said you were there. Can
So
you
let me-
enlighten the board on what happened when you were there, please?
I'm gonna turn it over to the clerk.
Yeah, so initially, when it comes to the maintenance of the municipality, there is that process in which our maintenance person was supposed to go out with the biddies and, if I'm saying that right, the bidders to go out and to know about the dynamics of our municipalities and submit a bid. That wasn't done the first time around, but was done the second time.
So.
Has it been
can
done in
you
the
show that
past?
It has never
It
been.
has been done in the past.
It had,
has.
excuse me, Brenda, I have to ask you, you're the clerk. Can you tell, was the clerk. Can you tell, because you've done bids, I've done bids with you. Can you tell me and tell this body, because I don't remember any of that taking place, and it could be because you are the clerk and you handle that, part of that.
Every year when the contracts came due, rather they were a first 1 year or 2 year contract, our past attorney went through all the bids packets with me.
Mm-hmm.
We did everything legal and proper. I put it in the newsletter or the Herald. We posted it out front that between this date and that date, you can pick up the bid packets at the clerk's desk
Mm-hmm.
in the main office. We would have several of the bid packets printed, all depending on how many bid packets each person wanted to take, and they signed a piece of paper when they took them, and then we registered them when they came back. Then they were all invited downstairs here. We opened them up. We invited all of the people that put in those bids. We opened them up. We took minutes of that meeting, so it was all done legal and proper. And when I left each one of those bid packets in a drawer in the clerk's office in a separate file. When I saw those bid packets this last time, they certainly were nothing what were legal and properly done before. And they certainly, they just were not
Okay,
done the proper way.
Thank
I'll put it that way.
thank you,
Not
because,
any fault on Dwayne, because I have always been a phone call away for all of that and was not called. And I don't understand why those bid packets I was told ended up in your office. And I
Bid
never understood why.
there's no bid packets in my office, Brenda, never has been any. Pastor Aldridge, in my office, I'm not understanding. Never has been, there isn't any in my office. The only thing I have in my office is their contracts. So I don't know, these lies. Nothing is in my office. Okay, but anyway, as you stated, she said that no one has ever walked anybody around the grounds. She said that has never happened. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. So no,
I
there's,
know when we discussed this, the last meeting, this gentleman here had a bunch of notes and stuff scribbled on this bid.
Mhm.
So I said, the only thing that day, last week, Wednesday, I think it was.
That's what, yes.
I says, with him doing it, and only him doing it, he could white out the notes that he took on this paper here and initial it or sign it, but we couldn't do it, but we've already accepted the bid sealed. It was his responsibility, if he wanted to white out the notes, that was all over, that we didn't understand, and he did that.
okay, so what are you saying?
This is his bid.
Okay, so what is the other
I think
bid?
we're going into the actual new business topics, and I think we just got to stick to
Yeah.
public
Yes,
comments.
yeah,
I think we got to
so
reel this
too.
back
But
in.
like I said, I don't know anything about anybody walking anyone through the grounds, and she just said that back there. We've never done that.
Okay. I just wanted to, let the trustee board, Mount Morris Township Board know my concern.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, any more unfinished business
We're
hearing?
still on
Okay.
comment.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, public comment on agenda items. The agenda items only. Okay, we'll move forward. Okay, and the unfinished business, we have pavilion restroom hours that we had discussed, board members, and we really haven't had an opportunity. I have not had an opportunity to speak with the maintenance guy in reference to that, so I would like for us to just table that until the next meeting so he and I can sit down and talk about the pavilion hours, the bathroom staying open for maybe a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours, or maybe 4 hours during the day. So I would like to table that until the next meeting. I have a chance to talk with him.
Is that a motion?
Yes, motion to
I'll
table.
support it.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I just have a
Go ahead,
comment. When you talked with him about the hours, will that include, you'll have it all encompassed in the hours he's working and show where he's doing, specifically when he's doing the pavilion bathrooms?
No,
It will
what
be,
this
it
is,
will be itemized so we can tell and know.
no, what this is for when the residents are walking
Mhm.
in the park, and they have to go to the bathroom, to have it open for them in the mornings, and before he leave, he would lock it back up. That's what.
Okay, this is not the cleaning of it.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's what I was, that's what I was asking. Is
does
this
that
part of
after
his
each-
cleaning?
Yeah,
Okay,
after each,
that's what I wanted to
yes.
know.
I think also that was encompassing on approving to open it before we get him cleaning it. It wasn't to open it to clean it. It was to.
That's what I'm asking. That does the hours, the pavilion restroom hours, are they just opening them or do they encompass him, the time
Oh,
he's
yeah, we would
cleaning
have
and
to-
is it part of his schedule? That's what I'm
Yes. Oh,
asking.
yes, yes, definitely.
That-
yes,
that's what I'm
definitely.
asking.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
And when
yes.
you bring that to us, it'll be spelled out so that we can tell. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's what I wanted
Yes,
to
he'll
know.
clean it at the end of the day, so he'll probably close it like an hour or so before he gets off, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now we're down to the
No, we
new.
gotta vote
Oh, I'm
Gotta
sorry,
vote
yes,
on
go
it.
ahead.
Motion to table.
Yes, motion to table, yes, it was, so call for the vote.
Who supported?
Baxter.
Oh, okay.
Baxter did.
I didn't hear.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes,
Motion carries 6-0.
okay, now we're down to new business. Request to approve lawn care service bids. And I think on that bid, Mr. Allen, that would be you.
So we, once again, we have, since you have it out, the two bids that were sent back out and we responded to what the board wanted to do. Also that the board at the time wanted us to take out, meaning the clerk's office, Fire Station 1, because they were said to do it, they were going to do it by itself, as far as the lawn care. But when we called Chief Hillerman said that's not the case no more. So, in retrospect, after discussing it with DA Lawn Care and Ballard Landscaping, they were showed the grounds of the municipality, what we wanted. And in their eyes, their bids hasn't changed. So what you have right in front of you, once again, is the bid number 1 from Ballard Landscaping. And you have number 2 bid from DA Lawn Care. The amounts are shown below. Chad's is $910 and Mr. Aldridge is $982.
Okay, so what is your motion?
What is up to the board?
No, you have to make the motion.
I think whoever wants to make the motion can make the motion.
Well, I make the motion to take the lowest bid.
Okay.
And that's
Which one is that? Mr. Ballard?
Ballard.
Mr.
that
Ballard.
Mr. Ballard? Okay.
Ballard Lawn Care Service.
Support.
Any questions?
I just wanted some clarification that legal can explain it a little bit, that the concern that Mr. Aldred had of knowing what his process was if he didn't like the outcome. Does he think that our bidding processes are fine and we're not going to get ourselves in a legal issue if possibly down the road? So, I mean, of what you've heard here.
So what it sounds like to me is that both parties who submitted bids were consulted, allowed the opportunity to change their bid after seeing the property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and both chose to keep their bids the same?
Correct.
Okay. As my Mr. McCone likes to say, anyone can file anything with a filing fee and a piece of paper. But to be clear on the first procedure, we don't have a dispute process for
Okay.
the bidding. The other would be to file some sort of lawsuit, but I'm not his attorney, so I'm not
Yeah,
speaking of prospects.
I just want to make
But I
sure
believe that
we're
the
protecting the township.
process
and-
was appropriate.
And then one other question, this contract is good for how long?
They're good for 4 years.
3.
3 years, for 3 years. Okay. And attorney, can we get you to redo their contracts? I have copies of the old contracts. I'll give them to you
Of course.
because we need to get that done.
Yes.
Okay. And the dates changed. Let's call for the vote.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Okay.
Motion carries 6-0.
All righty. We're down to Police Department request to approve step raise for Administrative Assistance Chief.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
So Michelle and Sasha both came to me a while back, asking me to come before this board and request a step raise for them. I had consulted a couple of people and was asked to put it on hold for a while, which I did. So that's why I'm bringing it here tonight. I'm asking the board to approve an increased step for Michelle and Sasha. Currently, Michelle is at $18.58 per hour. Sasha's at $19.37 per hour. Both ladies are asking to be bumped up to the next step in the pay scale, which would put Michelle at $19.37 and Sasha at $20.20. Both Michelle and Sasha do a fantastic job for the police department. They're both our lien tax, which requires them to make sure the police department is compliant with the state through annual audits. On top of that, they are required to type up all of our police reports, make sure warrant packets are properly put together for court. Tickets are properly in the system and sent to the courts. FOIA, notary public, among, I can stand here all day and go over everything that they do. But they're invaluable to the police department, and I would hate to lose either one of them, so. I'm asking that the board approve them to some type of letter of agreement with the union that they could be bumped up a step on the scale.
Did they get the 3% that we just negotiated?
I'm sorry?
Did they get the 3% that we just negotiated?
Yes, they did.
They did get the 3%. Okay.
Does their contract say that they are in line to get raises at certain times,
Yeah,
like
so
the
that's-
rest of the contracts read?
Yeah, so that's what I was, when I say they want to go up the next step.
Okay,
So currently, Sasha is at the 3-year step, which is 1937. Michelle is at the 2-year step, which is 1858, and bumping them up to the next step would be, what I stated earlier.
The problem I have is that we just did that. Okay, we just gave them the 3%. We're getting ready to negotiate with the GELCs. We're going to be doing your contract in December. Also, the union, we negotiated with the union and that's what they decided. So we just cannot afford to do this at this time, but board members, you all can chime in. We just had another staff that wanted a $3 raise and I just can't see this town, us doing that at this time.
So to
But-
put this, I'm sorry, Supervisor.
Go ahead,
To
sir.
put this into perspective, Michelle's increase would bump her up 79 cents,
Okay,
and Sasha's increase would bump her up 83 cents.
okay. Michelle, how much?
79.
cents, and Sasha would be 83 cents per hour.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When are they due for their next bump?
Both would be in, Sasha would be February, Michelle would be March.
and that would be a 2% raise at that time?
Would take,
Or would it take it to the same step?
it would bump them up to what they're asking to go to now.
I understand.
Just a little early.
And then if this board decided to do that now, what would be their thinking come February and March, that they would then indeed get another raise? Or would this be the raise that they would be getting earlier in the year, next year?
Michelle? You want to ask her? You got
I'm not sure what the process was on that. I guess.
My thinking is they would bump up to the next step once their seniority day rolls around.
That's correct.
Mhm.
That's correct.
Yep, that's right.
This is something too that we had been asking for like a year, so. It just keeps getting put off.
Absolutely, we understand that, but we had union negotiations, and so during union negotiations, I mean, we went over it, the team, my team, your team. So I know you guys are well worth it and you guys deserve it. But right now, I'm just speaking for me. I know this body cannot afford to do it, this township, but I'm only one vote, so.
So what we need to do is get a motion, some kind of motion of support.
If someone wants to make a motion for the purposes of discussion, or because they want to.
Talk about it, just
Yeah.
talk.
I just need a little bit more information. When you said that if this is approved, so then in coming February and March, then there's another raise. Is that what I'm hearing?
So
I guess I just need a little bit more information. I just feel like, I know we got and I didn't mean to interrupt, I'm Chief H. I know we got the letter, but I just need a little bit more information.
Explain, come here, Gary.
Can I just make one comment?
Sure.
Whatever the board decides with regard to wages is something that I think needs to be negotiated with the union.
Absolutely.
And I heard what you said, negotiate a letter of agreement.
Correct.
To me, as labor attorney, I think that the answer is either provide authority to negotiate with the union or a additional step up, and then have those discussions. It doesn't have to be a big deal, it's probably a few phone calls, or don't give the authority. But I think if you vote on it now, you're kind of putting the cart behind the horse, because
Mhm,
is the union going to say no?
mhm.
Probably not, but the real process is you've got to propose to the union,
Absolutely.
and the management agree to a letter of agreement to
Okay.
change what's in the current contract.
So why don't we table this until we
Get the union
yeah,
involved?
absolutely get the union involved.
Well, I think what Gary's saying is there would need to be a motion to give them authority to.
Yeah.
You would,
Up
what
or
you would
down.
do is you would do a motion
Mhm.
to give authority to negotiate over additional pay or step up for these dispatchers. And then you can give authority to where you think the township wants to go, and then talk to the union about it, because you may say, we'd like to bump you up to the next step, and the union may say, well, I think they ought to be bumped up two
To the
steps.
system.
Absolutely, right.
So,
So what Gary said.
So I
So
think-
We'll have a
basically, he's saying is that, we're gonna have to open up negotiations.
yeah, you'd have to, and
And-
I wouldn't
ask
do
them
that.
to.
Asked to open up
And the union can
negotiations,
say
right?
no. Is your union gonna say no? Probably not.
Hmm.
I
Okay,
wouldn't think
so
I wouldn't think they would, but you'd have to.
But when we open up negotiation, that means attorneys are
Absolutely.
involved
That's
and that
right.
costs us money.
Absolutely,
This one gets a little,
absolutely, yes.
Well, I'm just go ahead and make a motion.
So,
Supervisor Sims, may I?
yes, sir.
So I know in the past, when Chief Green was here, there was an agreement done for one of our dispatchers at the time, Angie West. And that was when Mr. Green was the supervisor, and I know they did a letter of agreement, real quick to bump Angie up a step on the pay scale during that time.
Well,
And I've got that letter of agreement in my office.
I think we did a letter of agreement for Rodriguez as well.
No, we did not.
No, we didn't do that, but she just we didn't, okay.
this one gets a little frustrating because during the contract, when we voted on the contract for the police and labor union, that the discussion came from the chief, and he said that he brought this to us, and it was advised under the attorney, Mr. Gary Fleck, that we would vote in the contract and then bring this up at a later date. And now we're at a later date. The problem I have is that if we give it to one, we've denied others, and it becomes a trickle-down effect. But then when you add it up, I mean, between the two of them, it's only $3,369.60, which doesn't, it's a lot of money. But when you look at we have in our package of what we paid in the labor fees in the last year, it's just a drop in the bucket. and then I run into, I just want to make sure that this township follows the Equal Opportunity Act or Equal Pay Act and continue to see that we got other people. I mean, when you look at what these girls, the ladies are
Ladies.
working, getting paid and the jobs they do, and then what we just hired part-time cleaning and maintenance positions at the fees. I mean, there's not much difference in the pay scale. I mean, so they came in, and so, I mean, I don't know if there's an easy answer, but I think that I like the attorney's advice is maybe sending it back into the labor, because maybe that protects us. And if the union agrees to, we'll accept that, and then we come to an agreement, it may save grievances down the lane, because I think anybody that works here is going to get a grievance, and we're going to spend $50,000 in litigation on grievances, and then it becomes a lot of money. So I would lean towards the fact that we go and send it, maybe negotiate back with the union. I'm sure they'll say, yeah, that's fine, and we'll come to an agreement that way. I think it might protect this board from legal or grievances down the road. I mean, that's my thought. I mean,
Our history has been, though, that we have paid dearly for the fact that we have not followed the contracts, okay, to the T. And so my concern comes here is this is our contract. If we want to change the contract, that's one thing. But to negotiate out of the term that the union has already set, I believe would cost us extra money.
I agree. That's the same thing. I think he was.
If I was assured, I'm sorry, but if I personally was assured that this amount of money would then be their raise that they were going to get in February and March, but I understand it can't be that way. But if we could just give it to them early, I would be more subject to do that than to give them now and then again in February and March.
that's something that
That's
might
why
be
you have to send it back
discussed
to
in
the
that.
union.
Attorney.
Again, I think the correct process would be to authorize something, to have a call with the union and say, would you agree to this? And then, you got a short piece of paper that you can sign off, then you're protected against them saying, hey, wait a second, everybody should get this, because they only agreed on this, on these couple of people. If you wanted to do it. I think that's the procedure.
But I believe what Brian is saying is if we do it for two, everyone else is going to come. They're going to come for their turn, and rightfully so.
Yes.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Well,
At this point, I just wanted, if we're going to do it, just put a motion on the table.
Yes.
have support, and then we can continue discussing. This isn't to cut off discussion, but just so we have a concrete motion we are discussing.
I would make a motion that this discussion in the wages for the girls in the office, the clerical work that in the police department, that it would go back to the union and see if we can come to an agreement on possibly an increase in the wage for those two positions.
That was the advice of Gary to go back to the union. I just want to make sure we're making the right motion. Before we
It's
say,
up to
is
us,
that,
basically.
Yeah, I think the motion would be to ask the union to reopen those wages for those two individuals. I think that's the motion. I don't think it would take a long time to do that, but if you were inclined to do it, that's how I would do it.
I would addend my motion for that verbiage of what Gary just mentioned.
and once we get the results from the union stating this is this, then at that time, then that's when it comes back to the board to vote it up or vote it down.
That's right.
So we still have that on the table to say yay and nay. That's what I wanted to know.
So we still need a second.
Need a second.
If we don't have a second, then
The whole thing dies down.
I'll second it.
okay, so
Well, we still back, now we back in discussion. But this is the whole thing with the cart before the horse. I know before when we said this, we're in discussion. Hold on. Is that there was I don't know, what a union turmoil with inside beefing or whatever, a gripe between the negotiating parties and the dispatchers.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, that was that. Or
I
disconnect, music or
believe I
disconnect.
would say disconnect.
And I think the last advices we got from our labor attorney is not to get in the middle of it.
Absolutely.
So now,
This puts us in the middle of it.
Absolutely.
what is back in the middle?
Absolutely.
So
And
this is,
even with
once
the-
again, this is the cart before the horse. The
And
contract
even-
is the contract. I think
Right.
it need to be what it is. Next time around, we can negotiate it because what happened was you had one said fraction didn't get what they want and the others did. So this fraction had the majority of the vote and voted it in anyway. Now we're going back to give them what they didn't think that they did get. or
Even the
didn't get.
union steward said that they voted, everyone voted, and that's how the vote went. That's what they said. So
So
we
I
just,
think we'll be opening up ourselves
yes.
for some
yes, board members.
issues
Yes,
if we entertain this.
yes.
Still letting sleeping dogs lay.
I don't.
I go back to this will not be the last employee that comes and asks for a raise outside of their contract if we do this. And we've also asked, we've had discussions about going to the union about wages as a whole to make sure that we can continue. It's the after costs, the retiree fees and all of that and end up adding up on us, and we're millions of dollars down on it already. And if we can stick to the contract, I think that's where we best be.
Yes.
I just seconded so we could have this conversation and so I could hear
Now we have a
what was on the
motion support. Now we
table.
got to vote on this.
That was why I opened it up.
Still under discussion, Elbert. I think you had something to say.
Chief, did the ladies in that office, did they have a chance to voice their opinions of this raise? They talked about this raise about a year ago, about our extra step up.
Correct.
Was that discussed in this, union agreement raise, the 3%? Was that part of it, or?
I don't know if they talked to their union reps in regards to that or not. I would assume that they did.
Right.
I don't partake in their discussions with their union
Absolutely.
reps. There was discussions at the table. Myself and Mr. Allen and Ms. Sims and Latrell were there, so there was discussions in regards to raises across the board for
Sure.
patrol as well as dispatch.
Like I say, I know this was discussed more than once about, stepping them up early. And now it's another 6 months early. But then at the end of the 6 months, come February and March, they're gonna wanna be stepped up again. So they're gonna have 2 step raises in 6 months' time. And if we open that can of worms, we're gonna be opening them up for everybody. Because they're all gonna be lined up here to reopen up their unions.
So Brian, what was your motion? We need to move on. What was your?
It was,
Whatever you said.
yeah, Gary, how did you word it? So it was a motion to send back to the
Because it's been-
union for,
The motion would be to
just want to get,
negotiate, to request to open the steps for the dispatchers with the union. Reopen those,
Okay.
the step raises.
okay, thank you.
And it was supported by Ms. Loper.
It
All
was
right.
supported
Let's
by
see,
me
call
so
for
we
the
could have
vote.
the conversation.
Call for the vote.
I'll put down. Ms. King,
No.
Ms. Loper,
No.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
No.
myself, no. Mr. Wilson,
No.
motion fails 1-5.
Anything else, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on.
I'm seeking permission to hire a police officer recruit and sponsor that individual through the upcoming police academy at Mott Community College, starting September 3rd. The individual has already gone through interviews, background investigation, drug screen, physical. His name is Daniel Webb, comes highly recommended. He's currently an employee at McLaren Hospital, security officer. He's also a canine handler. So he comes very highly recommended from some of our canine handlers here at the township, as well as other agencies across the county. There's currently grants to send individuals to the police academy through MPOLS as well as Michigan Works. So it's reimbursement grants that will pay for the academy costs as well as their salary while they're in the academy. So I'm just asking permission to hire this young man and send him to the police academy.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions for the
I-
chief?
Just one question. Would these grants cover the full academy cost or what's this academy cost?
Yes, so it's reimbursement through MPOLS.
So
So it covers the cost of the academy, and then Michigan Works will cover
The daily rate.
some of his pay, his salary, I believe Encoles does that as well. And then Michigan Works also provides them with mileage to and from the academy, as well as paying for some of their equipment that they use.
Uniform.
Thank
Any
you.
more questions for the chief? Board members, what's your pleasure?
Call for the vote.
Oh, okay, yeah, we call for the vote.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, chief. Board members, we're gonna take the legal fees and we're gonna put them at the, end. We're gonna go into closed session with that. It's already been, attorney has already given us that information. So we're gonna skip down to cleaning and maintenance. I'm not sure, clerk, did you put that on there?
Yeah, I did.
Mhm.
There was a concern, I think that that came up about cleaning services being done while people are at their computer and stuff like that, the vacuuming and noise and stuff like that. So we're just trying to find a remedy in which we can come about to do that.
Okay, so Marilyn and I talked when that came about. She called me. She said that it needed to be done before the residents come in because of the noise. And the young lady, she knew she had a job to do. But after talking with Marilyn, she said, Jolena, we can't hear. So I told her, okay. I said, so what I'll do, we promised the police department we would do their side first. So I told her before 8 o'clock, go do the side over there on the clerk and the treasurer's side, and then come back later and do whatever else you need to do, but vacuum first. So Marilyn and I had rectified that. So. Excuse me?
Don't.
No, okay. Okay, go ahead. So I haven't heard anything else from Marilyn that's saying that, she's been doing it. So, and then if she's vacuuming in the hallway when they come, she knows to turn the vacuum off until the residents leave the windows. So
My question
Okay.
would be, I personally have never,
please, no speaking out in the audience,
I
please.
personally have never seen
Please.
any business have their place cleaned while they were open for business. And so there lies my question. Is it possible to have the cleaning done before or after business hours? Is that an option?
I don't know, maybe that's something that the board could come up with. It's always been like that since I've been here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree, it's been like
Mhm.
that. But if we have our employees saying that it's an interference with business, and it's not usually protocol out in the business world for that to happen. I'm trying to think of any place that would be cleaning while they were open for business. And just so that we have a more conducive environment to conduct business in. Whether that's vacuuming or dusting, if I'm at my desk and somebody's trying to dust around me, I can see that being an issue.
I think what we have to also consider, we have one cleaning person. If that person isn't coming in until the end of the day, what if something goes in the middle of the day? What you just talked about is when you have more than one person. You have a first shift and you have a second shift, and you have people that are there during the day. What if somebody has an accident? They vomit, throw up. You need somebody here to take care of that right now. You need somebody there to take care of the bathrooms in case something happens. So if we relegate this person to just doing it before or after, then you have that time where the employees are here and anything can happen. So I think if we're going to do that, we need to be very strategic in how we schedule that person, because not having somebody here during the day, you said we're setting ourselves up for having the bathrooms nasty, somebody having an accident, and there's nobody here to clean it. So I would caution us that we be very strategic on how we schedule it.
Perhaps
That's my
maybe a
thoughts.
split shift of some sort, so that they could do the vacuuming and the more intrusive dusting around people
Okay.
when we're closed, and be here certain hours so that we can, like you said, make sure there's no accidents in the bathroom and such.
Well, let me look into it and we'll bring you back to the next meeting because we need to figure this out. It's something that we'll never be able to do sitting here today. We really need to look over it and go through and figure it out. Okay. So we'll just,
Motion to table. or-
motion to table this, yes.
Support.
Let's call for the vote.
Is that for cleaning and maintenance
No,
supervisor?
well, it just depends because even sometime when things go wrong, the maintenance man is up. So let's just
Let's
look
look
into
at
it.
'em
and then
both.
we'll- Yeah.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes, Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. King.
Yes.
Motion carry 6-0.
Okay,
Same.
we down to the resolution 2024-07, BDA Street Lighting Project. I'm gonna let Mr. Holmes kind of explain, the BDA lighting project, and it's something that the BDA has go for them. Yes, good evening.
Residents, this resolution corresponds with the BDA's desire to improve the lighting along West Pearson Road from Jennings East to Clio. We have been working with Consumers Powers on this particular project for several months, and they've now got the engineering done and got the cost estimates down to where the board, the BDA board has actually authorized to move forward with this. And so the information that I hope you were provided in your board packet actually identifies the billing amount just shy of $81,000. The body did, at their last meeting, approve $80,000, but we reviewed the minutes from their January meeting where they actually authorized up to $100,000 for this project. That was again confirmed with Mr. Rand and all of the members of BDA after that meeting on July 10th. So they are in agreement with moving this project forward. It does require a payment of $80,097 and the resolution to get the project actually started. And there is a estimated completion date of early fall with this being done. It would replace 32 LED lights along 21 locations on Carpenter Road, as well as
Pearson.
Here's wrong, Clio.
Say Carpenter now. Something going on
Pearson.
Carpenter Road tonight, I don't know what it is there, but Pearson Road, and it would also provide overhead lights to some of the areas that need improvement along that corridor.
Okay, board members, what's your pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Questions?
Yes, I do. I just want to confirm that this is a project that the BDA is funding 100%.
BDA is, that is coming out of their designated tax list.
Thank you.
And they have a sizable fund balance.
Yes.
Mad at 'em.
They do. Okay, board, call for the vote.
Mr. Baxter,
Yes.
Ms. Sims,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Ms. Loper,
Yes.
motion carry 6-0.
You may as well say Finance Director, you're up.
I actually had nothing for the finance director
Okay.
to report tonight.
Thank you. Okay,
Clerk's office report.
Aren't you gonna do closed session?
The end.
at the end, we're gonna do it. What is this? We don't have anything on the clerk's office report.
We have one. Did Richard read that letter?
No, hold on. Let's pump the brakes. That should have been up on the agenda part. It wouldn't, the clerk office doesn't have a report that they give to this body. This has never been a part. Now, if the
Let's do it
clerk
as a public
Under the
as
comment.
a
agenda.
regular, we could
Public
just do it.
comment.
What?
You can just do it as public comment.
It's public, okay,
Yep,
well, we
that'd be
haven't got to
fine.
public comments yet.
The next.
Okay, so the
agenda
next
item
one is public comments. So we'll do it on the public comments. So go
It is
ahead.
on the agenda though, and we approved the agenda.
That's right.
Okay,
Correct.
okay, well, go ahead. It's next anyway. Public comment. So go ahead.
Clerk's report.
As Ms. Supervisor Sims already said, with the guidance and approval of her family, it's with a heavy heart that I relay to this body and to the community that my beautiful friend and devoted public servant, Ms. Gail Armstrong, passed away into the arms of the Lord this morning. Gail loved this community so much. She worked tirelessly to maintain the integrity she felt so strongly this community deserved. Please keep the Armstrong family in your prayers during this difficult time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments, sir?
I just want to introduce myself. My name is Derek Aldridge. I pastor Second Chance Church, which is at 2070 West Coldwater Road. We've been there 5 years now. We work with the Eastern Food Bank every Friday. We give out food in front of Beecher High School. We have a food pantry that's not for now. We're giving away diapers. So just want you to know we're in the community, serving the community. And if you need us, just let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor.
Thank you.
Any more, Ms. Oliver?
First of all, good evening to the board,
Good evening.
and also on behalf of myself and the residents, we offer our condolences as well to Jill Armstrong. Freddie has been here for 8 years, and we'll pray for the family and may she rest in peace. My comment is, I want to thank the board on this weekend. We had a wonderful time to meet and brief the candidates and was able to ask them questions that we normally can't ask you because we're time limited. So we had one Friday. It
And
was
one Saturday.
Very successful,
One Saturday and one Sunday.
yes. And we also had one on Sunday. I attended both. I enjoyed both. I enjoyed the one Sunday for the children. Were so excited about the bounce houses, the balloons, the hula hoop. Everything that children love to do, they do. And Laura King, thank you for the entertainment
Thank you. You're very welcome.
that we had, and everyone enjoyed that.
Good.
So basically what we're trying to do, we are here and we're neutral. Believe it or not, I'm neutral. I'm going on who's going to serve this community, regardless who you are,
Mhm.
and bringing this township back to life. We may never again get it where it was, and I know I have repeated myself on this, and I will continue to until I see a difference. And I asked all the candidates, I have them lined on my fence, because I'm the one who people come to, ride 6114 Neck Road, you got them up there, and anything else, that people that's not running, would like to put their sign. I'm trying to open it up for everyone who's running for the various positions, rather you being reelected or you running for your first time. You know, because we need all the ideas. We need to brainstorm a little with our elected officials to let them know our concerns. We're not just in a community just living, going day to day and saying, whoa, we have nothing else to do. Our children is our main interest that I'm looking for, because they are our future. And if we don't get a hold on our children right now, they're gonna be into the criminal system or deceased. And this is talking about the age from 12, 13, 14. I know. I see them walking down my street. I hear them at night when I'm outside doing gardening or whatever I may be doing, and try to make them go home. Or trying to break in a house that's vacant. Had to run some kids out there yesterday. The house is vacant. So we need to do, I know my minutes are just about, I just want us to try to get along. Whatever our indifferences were, drop that. Start a new beginning. Let's get all on the same page. You don't have to be an elected official. All you have to do is have the compassion for one another.
Right.
You may disagree, but find a way to get in the middle so you can agree to disagree or to agree. Because without that, this petty bickering back and forth is childish.
Sure is.
You know, we all have the right to speak our own opinion, but we all have the right to be respectful. A lot of things the board do, I do not agree on, but I will work on working to agree. So I thank you for this time, and I hope everyone else will just think what I just said and see if we can all come together for the same cause.
Thank you,
Any
ma'am.
more public comments? Hearing none, we move on. We're down to Attorney. You have anything?
When Mr. McCone and I first came aboard on Mount Morris, actually the very first person that we spoke to in the hallway upstairs was Mrs. Armstrong, the treasurer. And she was immediately asking us questions, trying to figure out if we basically knew what the hell we were doing. And so I appreciated about her that she she did that. She took her job very seriously, but she was still kind and pleasant and all that. But she was clear that, you know, we were here to do a job, and if we weren't going to do the job right, we weren't the people for her. I was very sad to hear that she passed away, and I just hope that her family is okay in the coming days and weeks. Other than that, not a ton to report. We had some jury trial scheduled last week. None of them ended up going. We were able to resolve all of them. So that's the bulk of the work that Mr. McCone and I do is the criminal work. But obviously, whatever the board needs, we also do that. But much of our time, much of the billing that you get is us either at pretrials, at jury trials, reading warrants, doing legal research, things like that. So just wanted to kind of keep everyone included. And if anyone's ever interested in that process or has questions or concerns, let me know. Other than that, nice to be here. I wasn't at the last meeting because I had a conflict, but I'm glad to be here. Glad to see everyone. Thank you.
Alrighty. Now we are down to the fireman's report. Chad, you said you were here for Station 2? 3? Oh, Jason, okay. Anything to report? Scott, anything to report?
Couple things.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of the fire department and myself, I'd like to offer my condolences to Ms. Gail Armstrong's family. We also, our chief at Station 3, his girlfriend's father passed away also. That's where they're at tonight. So if you can keep them in thoughts and your prayers. Just a couple things to bring you up to speed at Station 1. Our truck is now in service. It's been in service for roughly 2 weeks. With that being said, we had to send out the tanker. The spring shackles on the back were seized solid. We had to send it up to Michigan Truck Spring. It took them 8.5 hours to get them apart. They blink. It's sitting for a year and a half, for a year and 3 months actually, up to Frontline with no movement. They seized up. It's a common thing. So with that being said, they got the spring shackles all fixed and everything. We were putting the truck back and it was shaking so bad that they had to take it over to Frontline, who does our repair. Come to find out the 4-back tires were shot. They were chopped up from the springs being all frozen up. So that's up there in the process of getting new tires put on. So just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. The other thing is we have a golf outing coming up. I don't think we mentioned it. It'll be August 25th at Flushing Valley Country Club. I do got some flyers. We're going to be hitting the streets again Wednesday, looking for some more hole sponsors and donations. So if you guys want some flyers, I got some.
Please.
Yes. How much is your whole sponsor for you guys? I know how much Chief Nims is. How much is yours?
Our hole sponsors are, I believe, $100 per hole.
Oh, Chief.
So this is our first one that we're doing. Hopefully, if it's a success, so they'll come by next year and keep continuing on. It's money to raise for the community. So, last and final thing, we was blessed to get a grant through Latrell for I believe it was through the state, for the $200,000 for turnout gear and compressor. We've all finally agreed to on the turnout gear. So I'm just letting you know we're going to start, moving forward with. We're only allowed to get 34 sets. The grant was for 40, but the cost of the gear, Elmer, myself, and Jason, we tried different avenues to get it cheaper. And you can go cheaper, but you're not protecting your firefighters.
Absolutely.
So you get what you pay for some days, and nowadays, and unfortunately, the cost and stuff. We're getting it under a state bid, which they've offered to all fire departments in the United, or not just in Michigan, but just in Michigan. It's a Michigan State grant funding for turnout gear for the full timers. Well, they offered it to the paid on call guys too. So we were fortunate. So we're going to start moving forward on that. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Wilson.
Our golf outing is not until September, so I'll probably bring that up the next board thing. But I would like to ask that the flags were put half staff until at least after the election of August 6th.
I agree.
That Gail was
Okay.
running for that election and just put him down and leave him until after the election.
Beach gonna take care of it, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Are we going to do that here at the township and the fire stations?
I
Okay,
think we should all,
I'm doing
three, yeah.
my fire station. then.
thank you.
So let, Chad, let Jason know, flag and,
I'm sorry to hear about his girlfriend's dad. And
yes.
this is
Okay, police chief report?
So first of all, on behalf of the police department, I'd just like to say their condolences for Miss Armstrong and her family. She will be missed. She was a great lady. Next, I've been in contact with the prosecutor's office in Genesee County, more specifically Jay Snodgrass. And they're looking to put together a task force dealing with juvenile crime. That task force would include the Genesee County Prosecutor's Office, Mount Morris Township Police Department, Flint Township Police Department, and the City of Flint Police Department. Basically what they will be doing, or what the goal is to add a counselor, guidance counselor, to each police department that would ride with police officers during their shift, identifying at-risk youth. That could be anyone from a juvenile that is truant from school, or committing larcenies or break-ins, stuff like that. But just identify these individuals and get them help before they graduate to even greater crimes. So the goal, like I said, is to get a counselor assigned to every police department, the 3 police departments, and get them also inside the schools, more specifically for Mount Morris Township, that would be Hamady and Beecher. And then I believe Flint Township would be Carmen Ainsworth, and the city of Flint would be Southwestern. So that's something that I'm currently working on, and we got some meetings coming up. So as that progresses, I will let you know. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, they need that. Okay, we're down to board members' comment. Mr. Baxter, huh?
Yeah, I think the board comments usually come after.
After
So we'll do the
closed
closed
session.
session, then come back to
Okay,
board
so
comments.
we're getting ready to go into closed session. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure how long it's going to be. So we need a motion to go into closed session.
Make the motion to go in closed session.
Support.
And again, just so that we have it on the record, that's under MCL 15.268 parenthesis H.
So,
Are you gonna have the board comments prior to that?
It's
That way the
Tradition's
public
all-
can hear what
yeah, our
we have to
comments,
say.
because they might be,
Yeah, we're
most of
gonna
them
be
is
gone.
gonna be gone, so.
Okay.
Okay, we're
It's
gonna do.
it's
board
totally up to you.
comments.
There's no rule.
Yeah, I would do
like
board.
to see the board comments
Absolutely.
prior to them leaving.
So we're gonna do board comments, and then once we do board comments, you can just be dismissed to leave. Mr. Baxter?
Yes, I'd also like to send my condolence to the Armstrong family. I was fortunate enough to be appointed, or be chosen after a death of a trustee. And I've been on this board and had many great people go with illnesses, and now we have another one that has left. To Mrs. Oliver, I was gone. I did not know anything about those meetings that I attended. I received no information on it, but I was gone on a 2-week trip with my wife, and probably could have made some changes maybe to have been there. So if anybody wonders why I wasn't there, that's why. Every year, because today's a good example that life is short. And for the last 5 years, my wife and I have taken, now that don't have any kids at home, we take 2 weeks and try to see as many national parks as we can. And in 8 days, we spent 4 days at stationary, but in 8 days, we drove 6,700 miles in the last 2 weeks. So, and we just, it's a lot of miles. And,
Good for you.
and gasoline and gasoline in California is, I seen it at $5.79. So I didn't pay for that, but I did pay $5 for gas in California.
Good for you, Brian.
But so as many issues come up before us, when I was down at Henry Ford and went through the Nelson Mandela presentation there, this thought came to my mind. This is from Archbishop Desmond Tutu. We were wounded people, all of us, because of a conflict, not of a conflict of our past. Because of a conflict of our past. No matter on which side we stood, we all were in need of healing. I know I screwed that up,
That's okay.
but it doesn't matter the indifferences we have as a board. we're Mount Morris Township residents first.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And so all of us have different opinions and what we think is best for the township. I personally try to make all my decisions made on what I think is best for the township. I'm a resident here. I want to be a resident here, and I want to make sure the township can survive with monies to continue to do so. But I mean, in today's, an example that life is short. It's too short to be bitter.
Right.
And it's a hard day. I've been through it 4 times here or 3 times here, and I was appointed because of this situation. So I just want to say that I understand the residents. They may not all agree with me, but in my heart, I do what I think is best for this township. Because a lot of people, nothing against some of the employees here, a lot of the employees here don't live here. I live here. You live here. And so this is our home.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Brian. Mr. Wilson?
I just want to send my condolences to the Armstrong family. The first term, I sat next to Jackie King and we lost him. And now I sit next to Mrs. Armstrong for the last 3 years and we lost her. But yeah, life is short and the bickering and arguing, you know, just hopefully we can, the next board, whoever it is, can get along and be here for the township. That's what I try to do. Everything I do is for the township. I was born and raised here.
Absolutely.
But to touch bases beside that, myself and Mrs. King, Dora King, we had a discussion last week for, I think there was election board or something. It was brought up to us from the clerk's department that one of them, Jennifer, would be leaving in a couple of years, and they're going to be needing somebody to take over her place. Well, what better time to find somebody during these elections so they can learn what needs to be done and how it needs to be done? Because in 2 years from now, when she's gone, there's no elections. And all of a sudden, she's got to get her feet wet in 4 years of the next election. So I think we need to start looking, if they can afford it, to get somebody in here that Jennifer can train to be there and when it's needed to be there. That's why we asked myself and Mrs. King to put the clerk's office report. So things that we don't hear, we can hear on our boards. So I would like to have that on the agenda, every agenda, so we can hear from Dwayne, the clerk office, that what needs to be done or what's going on with everything that's going on. Because there's things that we don't hear.
Okay, so I think we need to make that a motion so we can agree for
I want to
that.
make a motion that the clerk's office report is on the agenda, every agenda from here on out.
Support.
Questions? Hearing none.
Because like I say, when that was brought to us and said, it was kind of a shock. Well,
It was.
We're going to need somebody.
Right,
The
absolutely.
next board's going to need somebody for sure.
Because she's been here a long time. Let's call for the vote.
Myself, yes. Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Sloper,
Yes.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
Ms. Sims.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All righty.
Thank you, Bill.
All righty. Mr. Allen?
Also, my condolences go to the Armstrong family. One thing about working with Gail and all that and all who know her is that she wasn't afraid to hide words to how she felt. She was very passionate and she would tell you like it is, whether you like it or not. She wasn't going to sit on nothing. She would call you in and give you an earful from from head to toe. She didn't hold back punches whatsoever. So that's one thing that enlightens me every time I walk past her office, just looking like, man, I'd see her saying, come here. And she's going to let you have it, whether the door closed or not. So everybody's going to hear it. But that was just the passion that she had for the township. She loved this township and she wore it on her shoulders. And sometimes it came out the wrong way, but she meant right. But you just had to see through a lot of the things that she was going through and saying. It's a sad day. Should be truly be missed. Also, I'd like to thank everybody who came up and spoke today about their experiences within the townships, reports given by department heads and all like that. So life is too short. You got to enjoy it. And I know I've started doing it with my loved ones and my family. And once again, thanks for coming out. That's all I have.
Michelle?
I don't have much. I do too. would also like to offer my condolences to Ms. Armstrong's and her family. Our last conversation was regarding the retirees, and she was very passionate about that. And she told me, I'm going to get you all the information that you need so that you all can make a good decision, whether we agreed or not. She was very passionate, and she meant what she said, and she said what she meant. And she will be truly missed. And again, prayers and thoughts to the family. That is all.
Ms. King?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to do the same. Send my condolences to the Armstrong family. Gail sat on our youth board for many years as our treasurer on our nonprofit, where I got to know her a little better. And working here on this board has been an experience, and Gail was an intimate part of all of that. So I would just like to say she will be sorely missed, and send our love and our prayers to the family. That's all I have.
Okay, I want to read something on May the 23rd at 10:52 a.m. Gail and I text one another. And I said, "Good morning, Gail. This is Jolena. Just want you to know that I'm praying for you. You're healing. Know that God is a healer." She said to me with a big heart, "My back is a mess, but God is able." And she sent me a big heart. Anybody want to see my text, they can. And I said, yes, he is. So Gail will be missed. Gail and I had a lot of battles, but guess what? The battle's over now. She's resting in the arms of her father. So
Amen.
Gail, relax, rest. Mount Morris Township is going to move forward. We're going to move it forward. So to her family, I give my condolences. And I know that she is truly going to be missed. A lot of you guys out in the audience could say a lot about her, and I know you're going to miss her. So once again, Gail and I had text one another. So bad, good, or indifference, she sent me a big heart. So that lets me know that Gail was well with her soul and what was going on. So once again, to the family, we give our condolences from this board. So now we're going to did we do the motion for closed session?
Yeah, we'll just do
Yeah,
it
we'll
again.
do it
then.
all
We'll
over.
make the motion to go into closed session. And thank you all for coming out. If you're not here when we come out of closed session, but we have to go into closed session.
Then someone make a motion again
I make the motion to go in closed session.
Support.
pursuant to
Pursuant to MCL 15.2688H.
268.
Thank you.
Latrell.
Let's call for the vote.
Yeah.
Wilson,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Loper,
Yes.
Baxter,
Yes.
Sims, myself, yes. We're
Yes.
going to close session.
I want to say something to Mr.
King.
Hi, so I'm gonna put some up at the karate school too, and we'll be a part of it. It's a Sunday.
We're gonna hit the road.
It's a Sunday, so I can do it. Okay, so all the other ones, I was like, I have green babies. What am I supposed to
So
do?
sometimes people,
I'll make sure I get it. You're very welcome.
I didn't take it as you giving me a hard time. But just know that
Sure
all
is.
that going on in our church, now that we're giving away for free and we're embracing the kids and the families.